Let's talk about this right here. First of all, my name is Dewayne Hughes. I am a geologist with a master's degree, and I'm also a theologian. Let's talk about the geology first, then we'll go talk about the theology. So, the Black Lake was a freshwater lake that existed in the ancient world about 9,400 years ago, give or take how much every time you need to give or take. A thing happened, and the area flooded, and the Black Lake became the Black Sea. The freshwater became saline. Anyhow, what we need to consider is that the ice sheets were melting at the time, the Ice Age was ending, and you have the Mediterranean Sea filling back up, and there's lots of different theories about how things happen. Some say there was a mega flood that resulted filling the Mediterranean back up. But now the Mediterranean is filling back up, the Aegean Sea is filling back up, the Marmara Sea is filling back up. Well, there's a sill between the Marmara Sea and the Black Sea, or the Black Lake at the time. So the level of the water in the Marmara Sea is able to rise up higher than the water level in the Black Lake at the time. Well, eventually, it depends on how you look at it. The Black Sea or the Marmara Sea rises up, gets to the top of the sill, and then starts to cascade down into the basin where the Black Lake is at, turning the water saline and turning it into the Black Sea. Another possibility, though, because that would have been like, some nice waterfalls coming over and the water level slowly rising. The other possibility is that as the pressure on the sill increased, maybe the top part of the sill suddenly catastrophically failed, allowing a whole bunch of seawater to come over that and into the area of the Black Sea, or the Black Lake, causing the Black Sea. The amount of water rise is variable, depending on how you do the study. There's some where they look at trying to find ancient shorelines underneath the Black Sea, says that the water could have rose by 50 to 60 meters, flooding tens and tens of thousands of square kilometers of land area that was previously not underwater. Or there's some other studies that says that it only rose by 5 to 10 meters, flooding less than 10,000 square kilometers of land area. But anyhow, regardless of all that right there, the thing we need to consider is that this did happen in the area where Noah's flood would have happened at. So, the Noah's flood, the Sumerian flood stories, the flood stories of other peoples from that area might have an actual basis in reality that there really was a mega flood that happened at the time. Whether it happened slowly over time, where people go, oh, the water's rising, we can just get up and move our civilization slowly over time, or there was a catastrophic failure at the top of the sill, allowing water to rush in megalithic proportions. Now, let's go look at the theological side of things here. First thing I'd like to point out there is the story in the Bible, the scriptural account in Noah's flood account, is that most of the water came from the earth. It didn't come from rain coming down from the sky. There was some rain. However, it says that the bulk of the water burst forth from the earth. This would match what we see in the geologic record of the Marmara Sea overflowing this sill and then filling up the basin where the Black Sea is today. So we have a match there between the scripture and the geology right there. The other thing I'd like to point out is just because there was a natural cause for it doesn't invalidate the presence of God in any way, shape, or form. Take a look at this. This is something that was predicted a long time ago and is just now happening. The book of Revelation says that the sixth angel pours out his vial upon the great river Euphrates, and the great river Euphrates dries up. For the first time in recorded history, the great river Euphrates is drying up. Now, there are political things behind the reason it is drying up, people putting dams and not respecting water rights and a whole bunch of other BS like that as to why it's drying up. But that does not invalidate that perhaps God predicted that as a sign saying we're getting really close to the end of everything, that God had already predicted all this thing is going to happen here, regardless of the actual cause. So predictions in the Bible predicted 2,000 years ago, and it's now coming true today. The great river Euphrates is drying up. So that could mean the sixth angel has poured out his bowl upon the great river Euphrates, but the actual physical cause is because of political pressures in the region. Again, just because there's a political cause doesn't invalidate the prophecy in any way, shape, or form. But anyhow, the cause of the great flood doesn't invalidate the scripture at all. And what it does do is it does validate the idea that Noah's flood was probably a localized event and not a worldwide everything. Because remember, in the ancient world, the ancients thought that the world or the entire world was just the area that they knew. Anything beyond the area that they knew, even though the earth itself was bigger than the area that they knew, that was beyond the world. That was outside the realms of the world in the ancient mind. So according to Noah, the entire world flooded. But it really wasn't the entire world that flooded. It was just a localized flood. But anyhow, the geologic record does validate the story of Noah and saying that something actually did happen. And the fact that it's recorded in so many different ancient cultures of the day further validates that something really did happen.